And welcome back to the Cover 3 podcast here on CBS Sports. That's Tom Fornelli. That's Danny Cannell. I'm Chip Patterson coming to you live on youtube.com/cover3 and everywhere you get your podcast on demand. Thanks for hanging out. Smash that subscribe, smash that like, and come and join us in the chat, a.k.a. the Cover 3 tailgate. We got some commentary. Right now, Vanderbilt, as I'm looking at it, was just announced as 14, Miami at 13. Wow, up 2 spots. You thump NC State. That's going to get you scooting up the rankings. Miami Hurricanes up at 13. Reminder for the Miami Hurricanes, who are likely on the outside looking in of the ACC title picture. What do we got to say? You probably need to get to 10. Is that our target?
I mean, why not 11?
Does 11 get you in?
Why not?
If the ACC champion and the American champion are behind you.
So yeah, 10.
Then yeah, that's what I've been using as a nice little, because the bubble is real. Like we've talked a long time ago about, we're not going to have these conversations till we get deeper into the season. The bubble is real right now. So that's why I've been able to say for all these teams that we're looking at, for the teams Utah just introduced on my screen at number 12, when we are talking about your BYU, Utah, Miami, Vanderbilt, Georgia Tech, Texas, USC, Michigan, like all the teams that could try to get as high as they possibly could because of the opponents they have left or the record that they have, that 10 is your target. BYU up at number 11 as I'm looking at it right now.
So I think the committee, they're listening to all the campaigning that's happening for Miami. The ACC is on a tweet storm about it. And I say good. Like there's been people out there pounding the table saying, how could Miami – that I've been saying it here for 3 weeks. It's good that somebody's planning to listen. It's great.
Do you know where I am on Miami? And we're looking right now. Alabama's just at 10. They're going to take their sweet time now. But there is an aspect, and again, this is very inside Miami. You had to have been on this ride with Miami for a long time. But if Miami does close out with 2 road wins in November, good for them.
Yeah.
I just, no one actually thinks you're going to Pittsburgh in late November and coming out with a victory. I mean, it don't matter whether it's Mario Cristobal or Manny Diaz or Mark Richt. Ain't nobody betting on the Canes to go win a road game up in Pittsburgh in late November. So if they do it, then hey, I'm glad we'll at least entertain that debate into Selection Sunday.
So Miami went from 8 spots to 6 spots to 4 spots away from Notre Dame. Like I feel like that's where they have to get next to them if possible to try to get their resume side by side. They're getting closer.
Interesting positioning of Notre Dame. They keep them steady and then split Oklahoma and Miami. We had talked about this, that Notre Dame could be on top of both of them up at 8, could be below both of them at 10. No, they don't leave the Fighting Irish just where they were after a ranked win by the committee's own rankings last week. So, something to take note of as, again, we're looking at these key spots right near the edge of the top 10.
They didn't care.
I know. But I'm saying it's a missed opportunity.
Heard what Pat Narduzzi said. So how much does that win matter?
There was a path for Notre Dame to be at number 8 right now, potentially. And so I think that, if we're splitting hairs here, I don't know whether that was a call that, Carla Williams, the Virginia athletic director, made. I don't know if that was a call that Troy Dannon, made. We'll see. We'll have to find out another time. Looks like we're just shuffling up here. That's Oregon at 7, Ole Miss at 6.
Do you think Oregon can jump Ole Miss if they have a big win at home against USC?
100%. And Washington.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think next week,
Yeah, I think the combination of USC, Washington gives Oregon some upward momentum here. Obviously, they're a little bit boxed out for the Big Ten title game. So, but you could talk me into the Ducks still being able to move up and get as high as 5.
I would fully expect Oregon to jump Ole Miss if they beat USC, because then Oregon has a better win than Ole Miss. Like, Ole Miss's best win right now is Oklahoma. Well, actually, no, never mind. That'd be incorrect. So, no, I forgot. Yeah. So, I don't know if they'll jump them. They might keep them static because USC's not going to rate as a better win than Oklahoma unless Oklahoma loses next week.
But if Oregon finishes, if Oklahoma is a 2-loss team, Ole Miss 1 loss versus Oregon 1 loss. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on how Oklahoma and USC finish.
Georgia at 4, Texas A&M 3. Hey, we're moving Texas A&M up.
No.
Like we do all the big picture, like, yeah, good job there. But if we're judging your resume, there's no movement up after that. Indiana and Ohio State checking in at 2-1 as they were. If the bracket were today, we still have this mind-numbing result of Miami being in there, even though they would not get the fast pass from 13 to 11 unless they win the conference championship, something that mathematically seems highly unlikely. Tulane finds itself currently as the highest ranked team from outside of the power conferences. That seems really good for the American, but also there are a lot of other teams in the American that could wind up playing for the American Athletic Conference Championship. So once again, 11 and 12 seed, we are a little bit confused. First team out would be the 11 team, BYU. Utah there at 12. Remember, BYU has a win over Utah in Provo earlier this season. So as we've now got it, I've got a couple notes from further down in the rankings, but as we're sitting here with the top 10 and the full bracket all revealed, the thoughts about what they've done here at the top.
I mean, at the top, there really aren't any huge surprises. I think that would have been pretty easy 12 to predict going into the night. I think, honestly, one of the bigger takeaways to me so far, as far as who used to be at the top, is Texas falling all the way to 17.
Yeah.
Like, I knew that we saw that they did it in the human polls. We didn't really expect them to go that far. At least you did it in your projected 25, which you were clearly very, very wrong about, even though you tried to influence the voters. But like, I was somewhat surprised. I didn't think the committee would drop them that low. And I think the takeaway here is the strength of schedule that they were talking about. I don't think they're giving it as much weight as they said that they would. I think that maybe they were just like, oh, yeah, for sure. We're definitely going to care about that. I think that we're still looking at a situation where if you've got 3 losses, they better be incredible losses to overcome teams with only 1 or 2. And I guess, unlike Texas fans, the committee didn't think that was that close of a game against Georgia on Saturday night.
Sounds like the ball knowers spoke up.
Mm-hmm.
Mark D'Antonio, Wesley Walls, Chris Alt, they got in there and they said, boys, I don't even need to explain game control to y'all. I've seen who controlled that game. That was Kirby Smart's Georgia Bulldogs.
I will say, if you are a Texas fan, don't give up. You still got a shot to get in. Because if you can fall 7 spots for losing to Georgia, you can climb 5 or 6 more after beating Texas A&M if you do. Like, a lot of the teams that are ahead of the Longhorns are probably going to take a loss or 2 before the season is over.
Oh,
so
sure.
You look at that, and then as long as they went out and get that A&M win, I still think Texas is a very legitimate threat to get into the field as an at-large. But I thought they'd be about 14 or 15. Mm-hmm. The fact that they dropped to 17 makes me a little more skeptical about their chances than I were coming into the evening.
Interesting takeaway here. I think the Big 12 had a good rankings night. Arizona State.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, was I crazy there?
I mean, yeah, they're 25th. I don't know.
Where'd they come from?
I don't know.
Who's been out here? Who's been out here clamoring for
the Jeff
Sims? Who has been clamoring for the Jeff Sims-led Arizona State team to come crack these rankings?
You know who did this?
Who?
Kenny Dillingham called in a favor. Kenny said, listen, boys, I don't know if you saw the report today. My quarterback's thinking of entering the transfer portal. I need you to put my team in the rankings to show him that we still got it, that we're still in the hunt here, and he can accomplish everything he wants to accomplish here at Arizona State. Or what happened, Chip, was that the committee was letting everybody know it's not going to be James Madison. We would rather put Arizona State at 25 than put James Madison in there and give people hope or the idea that James Madison has a legitimate shot of getting this championship or into the playoff, because they don't. And again, people think I'm saying this because I don't like James Madison. No, I think every conference champion should be in the playoff. If they're not, then it's not really a playoff. But the way that this committee works, and based on how they've done it for years, James Madison never had a realistic shot of getting it.
Yeah,
And I
James
think tonight
Madison
kind of put the final nail in that coffin.
Yeah, James Madison got screwed tonight. Tonight was a good night for the Big 12 because I was thinking about it with, Arizona State has the win against who?
And it's against Texas Tech.
So as we continue to just drool over Texas Tech, well, that means Arizona State's good. And that means that for Arizona State, that's a quality win that could be out there for the rest of the conference. This is a good week for the Big 12. This is a horrible night for James Madison. Again, the Americans so fascinating in this because they have put Tulane up there, but Navy, I think percentage-wise, has a better chance to make the title game. They are 6-1 in league play. And, if they can take care of business, then they'll be on one side of that. So that'll be something else to keep an eye on. But with Tulane making it in, again, North Texas, I think was the prediction, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that was what most people projected. But Tulane is clearly, I'm guessing, because of the Northwestern win and the Duke win. The committee's telling you right there, Power 4 wins for G5 teams.
Yep. And JMU, of course.
USF had the Power 4 win. They'd beaten Florida. They were in. They lost. They move out, bring in the next one. Memphis was in. They had the Power 4 win. They lost. They're out, bring in the next one. And that's why I think the American is going to get the spot no matter what, because they have 6 wins against Power 4 conference teams.
Doing a lot of work there. 100%. All right. Coming up on the other side, now that we've got the new set of rankings, what are the Week 13 games we've got our eyes on? All that and more next. So, of course, we spent a little bit of time on CBS Sports Network today. We will have even more analysis coming up tomorrow when we take a look at that matchup between number 15 USC and the number 7 Ducks. When you take a look at where they each landed, what is the rankings takeaway for Oregon and USC?
I don't think there's anything really to take away, honestly, that hasn't changed. Like Oregon at this point, I can't remember when we went to the tiebreakers. I know I ran the numbers chip and it's Ohio State, Indiana every time. Does Oregon have like a viable path to Indianapolis?
Oregon, I don't
think they do because of the lost Indiana, right?
Yeah, I don't think Oregon does.
Yeah.
The confusing thing was Michigan, USC, and Ohio State all tied for second place.
Mm-hmm. So, for Oregon, I feel like if I'm the Ducks, I probably want to win out because they do have one loss, but they are ranked behind every other one-loss team outside of BYU.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I'm the Ducks, what I'm taking away is I have to win because if I have a loss here, whether it's maybe they could survive a loss to USC, but it's at home, so I don't even know that I would wager that far. But I do feel like if they lose, they are in serious jeopardy of being out of one of those final at-large spots. Like if you're a Miami fan, you should probably be rooting for USC. But I do think that the Ducks are mostly playing just to win out to get a home game. So you're trying to improve your seeding. If you're USC, it's been the same thing all along. It really doesn't matter where you're ranked. You have to win out because a 10-2 USC with the wins that they would have at that point would get in.
Yeah. Yeah, that's another good way to look at this, Tom. As we're getting into the final stretch, I talked about the bubble kind of means like top 10. Top 8 is home game.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to have a home game? Now that's the conversation. Texas
definitely want to have a home game. If last year taught us anything, no, I know you know that, but I'm saying like if last year taught us anything, you definitely want to have a home game.
Yeah, that's the new way to look at this. We are learning how to talk about this and look at this just as at the same time as everybody else. And that is something that is interesting that, we've got to draw these lines in the sand now to be able to figure out what the cutoff points are and where the big decisions and the tough decisions are going to be made. When the college football playoff expanded, one of the things that I remember writing about is we have never asked the committee to do this much with significance. We said that for the most part throughout the entire 4-team era, we kept being like, oh yeah, the committee got it right. You want to know why the committee got it right? Because it ain't that damn hard to pick 4. It's a whole lot harder to pick 12. And when the significance of the home game is so much that 8 and 9, I mean, damn, the difference between the 8th team in the country and the 9th team in the country is not much. But the significance between whether you were playing at home or on the road in the first round of the playoffs in mid to late December, that's huge. These are big, big decisions that the committee's going to be making. And of course, right there, if you looked at it, that Oklahoma-Notre Dame is that 8-9 split. So yeah, your Texas Tech all the way through Alabama. Like that's how are we really judging these teams against each other? Those will be the crucial conversations, in my opinion, as we react to the next 2 weeks of results. Also, shout out to Houston. I apologize for omitting you from Good Day for the Big 12, but that falls into the same category here in terms of, you know, a team from that conference being able to bolster the entire conference's reputation and what it means to have 3 teams up in the top 12. That's it's a good night for Brett Yormark for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, the Big 12 is showing depth, but then you've got the last year we talked about the Big 12 having depth, but they didn't have the top team. They have depth in that they have 5 teams ranked, and they also have 1 team in the top 5. So I think this has been a tremendous season for the Big 12, and I think that these rankings are kind of reflecting that.
We hang in a banner for Illinois at 21.
I mean, listen, I'm happy they're ranked. As a fan, if you're not in one of the 12 spots, who the hell cares? These rankings don't matter. That's all that these are for. That's why it's stupid that they do the 25. So yeah, I'm happy that Illinois gets to have the number next to its name, but I'd rather the AP poll is the one that actually because
I was going to say I'd rather be in the final AP poll.
Because the AP poll considers the whole season. This stops after the regular season. It doesn't do the bowls or the playoff games. Cool. We're ranked. That's great, and it's going to be on the TV. It's 21. Great. It's good for the program. It's good to give you that kind of attention. But as a fan, it means nothing.
Yeah, I know a lot of power conference coaches who have gotten the contractual payout from being in the 25, like in 22 or something. And they're like, so they get the payout for being in the final CFP rankings, then just go lose in the bowl game, finish unranked. The Wikipedia AP poll, our still frame of the season, you are not a ranked team. But yeah, hey, got that $250K for the nice little CFP. Congrats on that one.
Everybody's rich now.
I'm trying to think about what else is, as we're looking at it. Thank you, Mikey, on youtube.com/cover3. Yeah, good for Miami, good for the Big 12, bad for James Madison. I guess in that sense, good for the American. If they're just going to slide, if you're just going to slide one out and put Tulane in, it probably means you'll do the same with whoever wins the conference.
A question for you.
Yeah.
Based on where these rankings are, and we talked about it, some of the teams ahead of them, we were talking about USC and Texas, they're going to lose. The fact that Texas has 3 losses at 17 and 2-loss Michigan is at 18. Does beating Ohio State do enough to get Michigan into the field?
Texas has a win against Oklahoma. Oklahoma beat Michigan.
Yeah, but I'm more thinking of Michigan's resume, because right now, I mean, you tell me what Michigan's best win is. I think I know what it is, but I'd like to hear your opinion. New Mexico, Central Michigan, Nebraska on the road, Wisconsin, Washington, at Michigan State, Purdue, at Northwestern.
Yeah, I think they're done.
Yeah, I don't know if beating Maryland and Northwest or Ohio State is going to be enough to get them in. I think the Big Ten is 3 teams. I think that's one of the takeaways from these rankings, because it's one thing when it was a few weeks ago, but now that we're getting this late in the process and there's only a couple games left, a few more data points, I think the Big Ten is going to have a very, very, very difficult time. They're going to need a lot to go their way to get in for.
They could have 3 teams in the top 6 and no one else in the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think I agree with that. By the way, have I run through the Miami rooting interest guide?
Go for it.
Notre Dame loss, Oklahoma loss, Alabama loss, Oregon loss.
Yeah.
Just inch a little bit closer. Those are 4 results to move up 3 spots.
I have a much simpler method for any fan. It doesn't have to just be Miami. If you're whatever number you are, root for all the teams ahead of you to lose.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
That's my tried and true method.
Oh my gosh. There is I'm going to go ahead and shout him out here because he is our friend, and he made me chuckle today because there is a scenario where Virginia, who is off this week, so Georgia Tech makes the ACC championship game. Georgia Tech right now checking in at number 16 in the rankings. Georgia Tech makes the ACC championship game with the win against Pitt this week. Very easy. They win this game. They clinch one of the spots in the ACC. There is a way that Virginia, who is at 19 and off this week, there is a way that they clinch on a bye week. Could you imagine how awesome that would be as a player or a coach on Saturday to be able to clinch a spot in the ACC championship game without having to go out there?
Certainly not like getting fired on your day off.
Yeah, that is certainly something. Georgia Tech over Pitt would be result number 1. Louisville over SMU would be result number 2. And I know what you're thinking to yourself, Tom. You're thinking, you know what? There's a pretty decent scenario for Virginia to do this.
Yes.
You ready for result number 3?
Yes.
Do you know what it is?
No.
North Carolina over Duke.
Oh, you're screwed. You're gonna have to beat Tech, you're gonna have to do it on your own.
If Georgia Tech beats Pitt, if North Carolina beats Duke, if Louisville beats SMU, then Virginia clinches a spot in the ACC title game. And in that scenario, since Georgia Tech beats Pitt, Georgia Tech would as well. We would go into the final week of the regular season with that being all locked up.
Where's the Louisville SMU game at?
That is in Dallas.
Oh, no, Louisville's not winning that game.
Not funky vibes.
Yeah, bad vibes coming out of that locker room these days.
Yeah. I would agree with that. Anything else from, again, like we've got the committee chair, which is now Hunter Yurachek, the Arkansas athletic director, has taken over. Anything else from this is that stands out to you?
No, I mean, it is hilarious that the ACC team that can't win the ACC is currently projected as the ACC team, which again shows the stupidity of doing these rankings every week.
Yeah, we wouldn't do this if we just took our time.
Mm-hmm. Think of how much happier people would be if they didn't have to see these rankings every week. Wouldn't be all this discord. Wouldn't be all the fussing and the feuding. Miami and Notre Dame fans wouldn't be screaming at each other all day long.
Again, if Miami goes to do it, and again, the path, you need to first go out and win 2 road games in November. Challenge number 1. And also, Notre Dame loss, Oklahoma loss, Alabama loss, Oregon loss. There you go.
Mm-hmm. That's all you need.
That's all you need.
Oh, and you have to win. You can't blow it yourself.
And you cannot blow it yourself. Yeah.
Miami would never blow it. I mean, come on. Let's be real.
Certainly not with a 21-point lead against Syracuse on the last regular season week.
Here's a question from Sheree Shockey for you. What do you do with an Alabama SEC champion if they defeat A&M? Can you jump them 6 spots and punish A&M out of a bye? Yeah.
Yeah.
And they probably will.
Yeah. Texas A&M's resume is not as strong as Alabama's.
Actually, I don't think they would knock A&M out of a bye. I think A&M would fall to 4 in this scenario. They would probably, if they're 12-1, like this assumes that they win their last 2 games and they beat Texas. So if they lose, can they get knocked out of the SEC championship? Like then wouldn't it be Alabama, Georgia?
We need the Bud Bot for that one.
Oh, where are you at? But I do think that's the case. I cannot remember, but let's just assume Texas A&M wins out, beats Texas, gets them out of the paint for good, then goes to Atlanta and loses to Alabama. Alabama would probably be the 3 or 2 seed. Texas A&M would fall to the 4, but they would still get the bye. I don't think they're going to punish an undefeated team for losing a conference championship game by not letting them have a bye. It would be bad business for all involved.
There is, as Jerry B mentioned, there is a world where Georgia could be as high as number 4 without playing in the SEC championship game.
There is, but I think that would involve Texas A&M blowing the doors off of Alabama and Atlanta.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. Michael, Big Ten has no shot of getting 4. Yeah,
I'd say they have a small shot, but not a very good one. But yeah, if Oregon beats USC, I definitely think it's going to be 3. If USC beats Oregon, there's a chance that with enough chaos elsewhere, Oregon can still sneak in as a 10-2 at large.
Yeah, the Oregon USC result where USC beats Oregon is a nervy selection Sunday.
Here's a scenario, Chip.
Oh,
10-2 Oregon, 10-2 Notre Dame, 10-2 Miami. The committee says throw in Oregon so that way we don't have to worry about choosing between Notre Dame and Miami.
That's the TCU Baylor from 2014.
Exactly. We've seen it before.
Goodness gracious. All right. Enough on those rankings. How about breaking the games down? That's what we're going to be doing on Wednesday, 11 a.m. Eastern time, to be able to roll through some of the biggest games of the weekend. Of course, we will be talking about that matchup between the Oregon Ducks and the USC Trojans. We'll be getting into Georgia Tech, Pitt, and so much more. Maybe a little BYU Cincinnati as well. And you can follow him on Twitter at Tom Fidel. You can follow me at Chip_Patterson. Tom, thank you very much.
Thank you.